Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America, and it looks like the folks over at CNN, they're really sad about what's transpiring in the courts. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. You know, in the beginning, all these news shows, they love the courts. They love that the Democrats were taking Trump to court. They're going to stop him. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. But now it's getting to the bigger courts, the appeals courts, the Supreme Court. And they're starting to find out that these lower court district judges, they're getting cut off at the knees. They're getting cut off at the knees because they're being activists. They're not enforcing the law. They're enforcing their desires. They're enforcing what their Democrat overlords want to happen. They don't care about the law. Law be damned. They want to stop Donald Trump. They want to get people on their side. They want to maybe have book deals after this or just be celebrated in the media. And yesterday, Ellie Honig on CNN, who I got to say, this guy pretty much calls it down the line. He's a fair guy. He said to the host of the show, the anchor, he said, the courts can't stop Trump. And they're starting to learn this now. The district courts are getting a lesson that you can't just stop the president. That deference has to be paid to the man who was elected by over 70 million, almost 80 million people. The people elected this man to do what they elected him to do. And it's up to the courts to stop him. It is up to if the American people don't like it, they would call for impeachment. And the Congress would act. There are ways. I'm not saying the president can never be checked by the courts. It happens. It happens in every administration. And thank God we have the courts for that. The founders were right to have co-equal branches of government, but to use the courts as a weapon, as has been done, that's an abuse, and that cannot be tolerated. I want you guys to watch this and let me know what you think in the comments.
A federal appeals court has ruled in President Trump's favor regarding control over thousands of members of California's National Guard. So for the very latest on this, we're joined by CNN senior legal analyst Ellie Honig. Ellie, how big of a win is this for President Trump?
Well, it's huge, Pam, because it goes to presidential powers and the extent of them. So the core ruling here from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is, yes, the federal courts do have some role in reviewing the president's decision to deploy the National Guard. However, the courts can't just second guess the president and overturn him if they disagree. The Court of Appeals says all of us here in the federal judiciary, we have to give very broad deference to the president. So unless his decision is patently absurd or based on bad faith, then we have to step back and let the president exercise this power. So it's a big win for President Trump. As we know, he has sought at all turns to expand his executive authority, and this is a win for him.
And there is a hearing today on the matter. What can we expect there?
So today they're going back into the district court, which is the federal trial court, to argue over the scope of exactly what the National Guard and other military forces can and cannot do. Now, it's an ironclad principle of our legal system that the military cannot perform police law enforcement functions. They can't do arrests, they can't do interrogations, searches, and seizures. Now, clearly, the National Guard can protect federal buildings. Both sides seem to agree on that. The question is, how about that in between? How about if federal law enforcement agents from ICE or the FBI is out making an arrest? Can the National Guard then go with them and not do the arrest themselves, but form a protective perimeter around the arrest as it's happening? So today they're going to get into the details of what the National Guard and perhaps other military forces can and cannot do on the streets.
All right, Ellie Honig, great to see you. Thank you so much.